Hey everyone, and welcome. Let's just jump right into today's explainer. We are unpacking the anatomy of a misunderstanding, silence, sabotage, and open communication. It is a seriously fascinating psychological case study. We're going to see firsthand just how incredibly fragile human connections can be when our dialogue completely breaks down.
So, I want you to think about this for a second. How easily can a happy relationship be destroyed from the inside? It's a pretty chilling thought, right? Today, we're looking at the domestic drama of Rahul and Nisha. They're a married couple whose seemingly perfect life was nearly torn apart, but not by massive, overt betrayals. No, it was destroyed by a quiet, calculated, and totally silent sabotage.
Okay, let's dive straight into this with Phase 1, happiness and growing insecurity. This is where we see the hidden seeds of this entire conflict first get planted.
So the initial setup during their honeymoon phase? Picture perfect. They've been married for 1 year, Nisha has beautifully adapted to her new home, and she's just managing the daily chores flawlessly. Rahul is this deeply affectionate and appreciative husband, but there's a really critical shift happening in the background. Sharda Devi, Rahul's mother, who used to be the absolute center of his universe, is starting to feel replaced. And you know the silent resentment she's feeling? That is the true emotional core of our entire case study.
And this brings us to a brilliant illustration of the exact turning point in our story. A neighbor named Kamala drops this incredibly toxic comment. It's the external trigger that literally weaponizes Sharda Devi's growing insecurity. It instantly flips a switch in her mind, taking her from a sort of passive internal sadness to a highly active, destructive resentment.
Moving right along into Phase 2, the web of misunderstandings. This is where the psychological manipulation actively takes off.
Notice the completely contrasting realities being engineered here. Sharda Devi deliberately feeds them both contradictory lies. First, she tells Rahul that Nisha shares all their private household matters with her own family. Then she pivots, goes right to Nisha, and tells her Rahul is secretly furious with her. It creates this instant wall of silence. Instead of just talking to each other to clarify things, they both retreat into their own isolated minds.
Look at the heavy dramatic irony right here. We, along with Sharda Devi, know exactly what is happening, but the couple is completely in the dark. This quote highlights the sheer malicious intent behind her actions. It wasn't just a simple misunderstanding, you guys. It was engineered poison meant to absolutely destroy their bond.
Watch how rapidly this sabotage escalates. The manipulation builds incredibly fast, going from whispered lies to the active destruction of trust. On day 1, she hides a parcel from Nisha's mother. On day 2, she hides Rahul's important office file and just lets Nisha take the blame. And then, brutally, on day 3, she throws away the special care Nisha made for Rahul, claiming Nisha didn't care enough to cook for him. Every single act was perfectly designed to validate the false narrative she had planted in their heads. Which brings us to Phase 3, on the verge of breaking. The toxic silent treatment finally reaches its absolute limit.
Stemming directly from those incidents with the Kier and the missing office file, they are now trapped in a severe communication breakdown. Rahul is utterly convinced that Nisha is totally indifferent to his needs, and Nisha is completely bewildered by his constant aggressive blame. They are both victims of a third party here, yet they view each other as the ultimate enemy. And then, the emotional dam finally breaks. Rahul, completely blinded by the fabricated evidence and his own frustration, delivers this devastating line. He effectively tells his wife to leave their home. This is the harrowing moment the marriage almost entirely collapses under the immense weight of unspoken assumptions.
Thankfully, we're shifting into Phase 4, truth and open communication. This is a much more hopeful phase where the couple finally fights back.
Sheer luck actually ends up playing a major role in the revelation here. Just as Nisha is packing her bags in tears, Rahul accidentally overhears his mother boasting on the phone with this exact quote. In an instant, the grand illusion just shatters. He suddenly realizes that every fight, every missing item, every cold shoulder, it was all a calculated setup by his own mother.
So this is exactly how you save a relationship on the brink. They begin establishing what the source text calls hula samvad, or open communication. First, Rahul rushes in and stops Nisha from leaving. He doesn't make excuses, he takes immediate accountability and admits his lack of trust. He shares the audio recording as undeniable proof and, most importantly,
they make a pact for the future.
Here is the definition of that very pact. It is the ultimate defense mechanism for their relationship moving forward. A firm agreement to never trust a third party's claims without directly asking each other first. I mean, it sounds incredibly simple when you break it down, right? But implementing this one rule is exactly what shields a partnership from external sabotage.
Finally, let's look at Phase 5, the final lesson. This brings us to the resolution of our explainer today and the core moral takeaway of this entire psychological study. Open communication doesn't just mean talking behind closed doors. Sometimes it literally requires exposing the harsh truth to the light. The next morning, Rahul calls a family meeting and plays the undeniable recording of his mother for everyone to hear. You can imagine the tension in that room must have been palpable. But exposing the truth isn't just about punishment, it opens the door for real healing. Confronted with her own voice, Sharda Devi is overwhelmed by deep, genuine repentance for the chaos she caused.
The story concludes with this painful but necessary confrontation. Look at this quote from Rahul. Why? It's a heavy, heartbreaking question that brings the destructive nature of unchecked jealousy directly to the surface. But beautifully, rather than holding on to bitterness, Nisha shows incredible magnanimity. She shows true greatness of character by forgiving her mother-in-law, breaking the cycle of toxicity for good.
Which brings us to our final takeaway. I want to leave you with this provocative thought to ponder. When external voices whisper doubts into your life, do you choose silence and let the poison spread, or do you choose open communication with your partner? As Rahul and Nisha showed us, prioritizing open dialogue and having the grace to forgive are the ultimate keys to a relationship's survival. Thank you so much for joining me as we unpack this complex web today. I really hope this case study helped clarify the incredible importance of always verifying the facts and never letting silence be the wedge in your own relationships. Keep learning, and I'll catch you on the next one.